Hello, dear students. Today we are going to talk in our spelling lesson about compound words. Okay, what are compound words and what are the kinds of the compound words? And we will see also some examples of compound words. Now, compound words are two words that give together one meaning, which means that each word has its own meaning, but when I join these two words together, they will give me another new meaning when I put them together. Okay, we have three kinds of compound words. Closed compound words, which means that the two words are written together without any space between them. That's why we call them closed compound words. Example like campfire, popcorn, and of course other words. For example, here camp by itself has its own meaning, fire by itself has its own meaning, but when I put them together without any space, that's why we call it closed compound words, and they give me another new meaning together. Popcorn, it's the same. Pop has its own meaning, corn has its own meaning, but when we put them together, popcorn, they will give me another different new meaning. And there's no space between the two words, that's why we call them closed compound words. The other kind is open compound words. Also, when we join two words together to give me one new meaning and there is a space between the two words, we don't write them close to each other. Like for example here, living room, full moon. Okay, so living by itself has a meaning, room by itself has a meaning, but when I put the two words together, living room, they will give me a new meaning, and there's a space between them. That's why we call them open compound words. And it's the same for the word full. When I put it with moon together, it will give me a new meaning, and there's a space between them. That's why we call it full moon, and we call it, open compound words. Now, we have hyphenated compound words from the title or from its name, hyphenated, because there is hyphen between the words. What's the meaning of hyphen? This small dash or this small line, it's a hyphen. When I put hyphen between the words in the compound word, I called it hyphenated compound word. Like here, for example, mother-in-law. I have a hyphen between the words. I can't write it without hyphens, so that's why it's a hyphenated compound word. Also 72. I put hyphen between the two words, and that's why we call it hyphenated words. And these words together, it will give me one new meaning. And here it's the same, 70. With two, it will give me a new different meaning. So these are examples of compound words and the kinds of compound words. Now let's here identify our spelling words or our compound words in the spelling list in our lesson. The first one, wildlife. Now wild by itself has a meaning, and life by itself has another meaning, but when I put it together, it will be one word, wildlife, and it will give me one new meaning, which is animals living in the wild or animals living in the forest. Okay, we call them wildlife, and it's a noun. This is the part of speech. These are here examples, some pictures of the wildlife in the forest. For example, here we saw wildlife such as deer. Okay, also deer are example of wildlife, and it's a noun and it's closed compound word because there's no space between the two words wild and life. Okay, so wildlife, it's a noun and it means animals living in the wild. The second one, uproar. Up with roar together, it will make a new compound word, and it's uproar. It's closed compound word. There's no space between the two words. It's a noun and it means noisy disturbance. Noisy disturbance. For example, the fans created an uproar. It's a noise. The noise, we call it uproar, and it's a noun. Okay, so for example here, the audience or the fans created or made an uproar. It's a noun and it means a noise. Okay, or a very noisy disturbance, and it's closed compound word. Okay, the next one, home run. Now, home alone, it has its own meaning. Run has its own meaning. But when I put these two words together, they will give me one meaning, and it's a compound word. And there's a space between the two words. That's why it's open compound word. And it's a noun here. The new meaning that a score in baseball. Now, when the baseball player hit the ball and make a score, we call it home run. For example, Mark hit a home run today, which means he got a score in the baseball. For example, in the football, we say it's a goal. In basketball, it's a score. But in the baseball, we call it home run. So it's an open compound word. There's a space between the two words. Home with run together, it will give me a new meaning, which is the score in the baseball. And it's a noun. The next one, headache. Head with ache together, it will give me a new meaning, a new compound word, and it's a closed compound word. There's no space between the two words, head and ache. Together, it will give me a new meaning, which is a pain in the head, and it's a noun. For example, loud noise gives me a headache. So a headache or headache here, it's a noun, and it means pain in the head, and it's a closed compound word. Top secret. Now, the word here, or the compound word here, it's hyphenated because there is a hyphen between top and secret. When I put top with secret together, it will give me a new meaning, which is something only limited, authorized people can use or see it, which means that it's something that is very secret, only authorized people or allowed people can see it or can use it. That's why we say it's a top secret. It's not for public, it's not for everyone, just for limited people, for authorized people, for specific people. And it's hyphenated compound word because there's a hyphen between the two words, and it's an adjective. We use it to describe something, like here, the spy has a top secret file. So top secret, we use to describe file, and it means that this file only for specific people who can open it and can see what's inside it, not for everyone. So it's a top secret. Teammate, team with mate together, they make a new compound word, and it's a closed compound word. There's no space between them. Teammate, it's a noun, and it means a member in the same team or partners in the same team. Okay, like here, these football players are teammates. They are playing in the same team. Every teammate must play. This is an example. So teammate, it's the member or the partner in the same team, and it's a noun. It's closed compound word. Wheelchair, wheel with chair together, it makes they make a new compound word, and it's also closed compound word. There's no space between the two words. Wheelchair, it's a noun. It means a chair used by people that can't walk, and it has wheels, and this is an example of or a picture of a wheelchair. She had to use a wheelchair after her surgery. So this is the wheelchair. It's a chair that has wheels. That's why we call it wheelchair. It's a compound word, closed compound word, and it's a noun. Light bulb. Light with bulb. Together it makes a compound word. It's an open compound word because there's a space between the word. We can't write it closed. We can't write it with hyphen. It's written like this: open compound word, light bulb. Together they make a new word, and this word, it's a noun, and it means an electric bulb. These are examples of the light bulb. This light bulb is too dim, which means it doesn't have very strong light. This is the example. So light bulb, it's an open compound word, and it's a noun. Well known. Well known, it's a hyphenated compound word. Well with none together will make a new compound word. It's an adjective, and it means clearly or fully known or famous. Okay, this is the meaning of well known. A well known chef cooked which means famous chef, okay? For example, here we have well-known trademarks or well-known brands or symbols. Here we have well-known people around the world, which means famous, okay? And it's a hyphenated compound word. Throughout, through, without, together, they make new compound word, closed compound word, there's no space between them. Throughout, it is an adverb and it means from the beginning to the end. From the beginning of something to the end of it. For example, here, clues are written throughout the book, from the beginning of the book till the end of it. So throughout, it's a compound word, closed compound word, and it's an adverb. For example, here in the picture, the character changes throughout the story, from the beginning of the story till the end of the story. So throughout, it's an adverb, and it means from the beginning till the end. I worked throughout the day, which means from the beginning of the day till the end of the day. Okay, so throughout, it's a closed compound word. Life preserver. Life has its own meaning. Preserver by itself has its own meaning. But when I put these two words together, they will make a new compound word, and it's an open compound word. It's a noun, life preserver. Compound word means a jacket or belt that keeps someone floating. These are pictures of life preservers. It's a jacket or a belt. People use it to stay floating in the water. He threw me a life preserver, and life preserver is a noun. It's an open compound word, okay? Barefoot. Bare with foot together, they make new compound word, and it has a new meaning, which is not wearing anything on your feet. Not wearing anything on your feet. It could be an adjective, it could be an adverb according how we use it in the sentence or in the context. If we use it to describe a noun, so it's an adjective. If we use it to describe an action verb, so it's an adverb. Okay? Here, for example, I walk barefoot on the beach. I walk barefoot. Here, barefoot, it's an adverb because I use it to describe the action verb walk. On the beach, which means without wearing anything on my feet. Okay, so that's the meaning of barefoot, and it's an adjective or an adverb. Two words together make a new compound word, and it's a closed compound word. Part-time, a hyphenated compound word. Part by itself has its own meaning, time by itself has its own meaning, but when I put them together, part-time, they make new compound word with a new meaning, which is to work, part of the original full-time, and it's an adjective. Now, part-time, it's an adjective. It means when someone is working part of the time of the full day in the work, which means that you are not working the whole hours of the day. You are working part of the hours of the day. So we call it part-time work or part-time job. Layla has a part-time job, which means that she is working less than the full time of the day in the company or in this school or whatever. So it's a part-time job, and it's hyphenated compound word. It's an adjective. Warehouse, where with house together, they make a new compound word, closed compound word, and it's a noun. It means a building used to store goods, and another synonym for warehouse, it's hangar. So this is a picture of a warehouse, how people store stuff inside it, here from outside. The warehouse stores boxes, so people use it as a storage place. Okay, warehouse, it's a closed compound word, and it's a noun. Overboard, over with board together, they make a new compound word, and it means over the side of a ship or boat, which means out of it, and it's an adverb. Like here in the picture, this man here in the water, he is overboard, which means he is out of the ship. This man here inside the ship, he is on board. So this one is on board, this one is overboard. So overboard, which means out of the ship. He is not inside the ship or on the board. Throw the anchor overboard, which means throw it out of the ship. in the water or in out of the boat. Okay. So overboard, which means out of it, it's a closed compound word and it's an adverb. Outspoken, out with spoken, together they make a new compound word. It is an adjective and it means to say things freely without being shy, without being scared. Outspoken, it's an adjective. We use it to describe a noun, to describe someone that he is outspoken. He say anything he thinks about it without being scared or shy. For example, when you are outspoken, people know what you think, which means that you say what you want without being scared or shy. And it's an adjective and it's closed compound word, outspoken. Post office, it is a noun. Post with office together, they make a new compound word and it's an open compound word. It's a noun and it's then an office for mail. Like this one, this is the post office. It's a place where people usually go to send letters, to send packages, to send mail. We call it post office. The post office sells stamps. So post office, it's the office, the place where people go to send letters, packages, mail, and anything. And it's a noun and it's open compound word. So post office together, it gives me one meaning. Up to date, it's a hyphenated compound word because it has a hyphen. And up to date together, it is an adjective and it means the latest and the newest fashion, ideas, news, things, and so on. So up to date, it's an adjective. It's a hyphenated compound word and it means the latest and the newest things like fashion, ideas, mobiles, computers, news, and whatever. Lee wears up-to-date fashions. Or for example, this is an up-to-date iPhone. For example, here are up-to-date wedding dresses. So up-to-date means the latest or the newest and it's an adjective. Okay, and it's a hyphenated compound word. Awestruck, awe with struck, which means like that someone hit you with awe, and awe means afraid or surprised or shocked. So awestruck, it's a closed compound word and it is an adjective. We use it to describe someone that he's awestruck and it means filled with awe or afraid. It's an adjective. For example, here, I am awestruck by the movie, which means I am afraid by the movie. Look at this baby. He is awestruck, maybe from the toy or something. This man is awestruck. He's scared, shocked, afraid. So awestruck, it's a closed compound word. It's an adjective and means afraid or full of awe. Newscast, news with cast together, it will give me one new meaning, which is a broadcast of news on TV or radio, and it's a noun. So news with cast together will give me new compound word, closed compound word, and it means the broadcast of news on TV or radio, which means when the news that you watch on TV or you heard on the radio, we call it newscast, and it's a noun. These are here examples of the newscast on TV or radio. When you watch the news on TV, it's a newscast and it's a noun. For example, here we will watch today's newscast. The news for today, the news for today, it's a newscast, it's a noun, and it's a closed compound words. Okay, so here are all the new compound words in our lesson. I hope you enjoyed and understood it, and you can now differentiate between the closed compound words or the hyphenated compound words or the open compound words, and how the two words together, they will give me new meaning with new part of speech, and we can use it in a different way in the sentences. Thank you so much.